We have enough chairs, Scott.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, try now. Now I gotta wait for the stream delay.
So, what's that like?
Okay, try now.
Maybe not.
Now I gotta wait for the stream delay.
Just no feedback.
Well, there is feedback. It's just not that bad.
Yeah.
Testing again. Hello. Now I gotta wait for the stream. Okay. Welcome, everyone, to. Huh? Oh, yeah. I've lost the thing. Great. Okay. Welcome again. We have 2 talks today, as usual. First, housekeeping. We've got Code of Conduct is here. Please read it. If you haven't, it's pretty standard, but it's very important. If you would like to donate, we're never going to say no. Okay. Pizza is stupidly expensive. With Future House, thank you for hosting. Do you want to say a few words?
I'll just say very briefly. So welcome to Future House. Who has been to Future House before? Who hasn't? Okay, cool. So Future House is a sort of members club and an event space and a community for people who are who want to sort of build the future in some way or another. We have a bunch of WhatsApp groups. We ran a load of events, which you can see on the wall there. We're sort of figuring out what to do next. So if you're also excited about the sorts of things you see on the wall or just fucking building something, then chat to me about what it is. There should be a way to join the WhatsApp groups via the wall, but there isn't. So if you're interested, go to futurehouse.uk or word.uk. You can find out more there. And if you feel like donating to Future House, because it also doesn't have millionaire backers, then there's a QR code there, especially if you grab anything from the fridge, that'd be particularly appreciated. That's it.
Sweet. Thanks. So up first, we have Andrew building a virtual studio, and then afterwards we have Maya talking about side projects. So yeah.
Okay.
You're on. Is it blue?
It's blue now. Okay. So for the benefit of people on YouTube, my name's Andrew Green from Attenzen, and we do an event management platform to help you run business conferences. Our platform has a registration form builder, email marketing tools, an agenda builder, a badge designer, a check-in app, bunch of other things. Back at July's meetup, I talked about our drag and drop event website builder, and I'd encourage you to check out the recording of that on YouTube. It's on the Svelte Society channel, I believe. If you're at all interested in that or in some of the background and context to what we're trying to do, because God only knows you don't want me to rehash it here. And that talk also featured a lot of jokes that really didn't land. So good news if you're fans of that. But today I'm here to demo our browser-based virtual studio. Back when we first starting to build our platform during the pandemic, virtual events exploded and became a really big thing. So we knew that we had to do something to try and handle those. Obviously, people couldn't meet in person, so business conferences basically moved entirely online. And I'm going to move my notes up here. That's less true now, but there is still a fair amount of demand for hybrid events, not completely unlike this one, where some of your attendees are here in person and others are watching live from the comfort of their laptops. So the meeting tonight is streaming content via StreamYard to people on YouTube, but YouTube isn't always an ideal environment for a glossy, I keep on getting notified here, a glossy, highly branded corporate event where tickets are sold for a lot of money and your attendees are only partly there for the content, they're also there for the networking. So part of our product is a virtual event environment, and only registered attendees of the event can access that. And that's where they'll find all of the different sessions that you've made in your agenda live streamed, along with session interactions like chat, Q&A, and polls. And inevitably, there's a messaging system in there so that you can have conversations with other attendees. For a hybrid event, you might have an auditorium with a camera at the back of the room that's pointing at the stage, and the output of that camera is shown on a couple of screens to the side of that stage, but is also sent out as a live stream to virtual attendees. But for a 100% virtual event, or even for some sessions in a hybrid event, your participants won't necessarily be in the same room as each other, and they'll need to dial in using their computers. It's basically a big old Zoom call with maybe a little bit of extra pizzazz. You've got speakers' heads arranged in little boxes on a stage, maybe with some slides being shared. It's a webinar broadcast to a potentially substantial audience. So that's where a virtual studio like ours comes in. It's a managed environment for conducting a big-ass group call that lots of people can watch, but very few people can participate in. And it's directed. Participants are added to the stage and removed from the stage, shuffled around, put into different layouts, like captions and lower thirds and things are added. So it's a little bit more, there's a bit more production value to it than just a Zoom call. If you're familiar at all with StreamYard, which we're using here, at the risk of collapsing the space-time continuum when I try and have both sets of cameras working at the same time, you'll know pretty much exactly what I'm talking about. That's what we're using to deliver this event to YouTube. Again, hello YouTube. Our product isn't really as general purpose as StreamYard by any means. It's much more tightly bound to the whole virtual event proposition that we're doing. And that brings certain benefits for us, but obviously there are trade-offs as well. Okay, probably time to take a look. And I think you said it's Control-Tab. Good. Okay, excellent. That's working. So this is our virtual event environment for a event that I put together for this. It's just a demo. All of the colors and that background and everything are completely customizable using the platform. It's not something that you would do in this virtual event space. It's something that you do in the management bit that we have. And your attendees would sort of click a link in the joining email and land here, where there's a lobby, and if there's a session going on at the moment, they can move through to the stage to watch that session and participate in it. We've got different cards here and some information about the event over here as well. And the studio that we've put together, the sort of StreamYard-alike, is built directly into this. So it's not a sort of separate product that you send people to. They turn up to the, basically your participants, your speakers would be attendees of the event as well. They would turn up to the same thing, and then they can move through to the studio when it's their time to conduct a session or in advance. So I'm going to click through to the studio, and this is showing me, mercifully, this seems to be working. Just a little sort of welcome thing to make sure that the camera and microphone are all set up, and God knows we had to play with this a little bit earlier on. So I'm going to join the studio. And for some reason that's not leaving. This is somebody else's. Yeah, I'm a little bit. All right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try and refresh because. Okay, that's better. God, I don't know what happened then, but I'm going to blame that on trying to do StreamYard in another tab on somebody else's computer that I'm completely unfamiliar with. So I've got a couple of colleagues also here in the studio at home, but I've asked them to sort of dial in a little bit early. So you can see them down the left-hand side there. Now, they're live. Yeah, that's really live. Ian, do you want to wave? Can you hear us? No, you can't. Ian can't hear me because I'm not on the stage. Let me add myself to the stage. Hello. Can you two hear me? Can you wave if you can hear me? There we go. Excellent. Good. The trouble we're going to have here is that you're not going to be able to hear them because we're sharing this full screen on StreamYard, and if you're sharing a thing on anything full screen, the audio doesn't get shared as well. So the best I can hope here is that Willow's speakers are substantial enough that it gets picked up on the microphone. We'll have a go, huh? So I'm going to add Ian to the stage. Whoops. I'm going to add Ian to the stage. I'm also going to add stage. Hello. Okay, that's really choppy. Again, I think that's probably because we're trying to do StreamYard at the same time. I'm also going to mute myself. Oh, I can hear that on there as well. So this is horrifying. All right, so let's not worry about sound. I'm going to go onto backstage chat here. I'm sorry, what? How do I get out of this? Press escape. I tried to mute. Arrow left. Command arrow left. Oh my God, control arrow left? No. Oh, right, I'm up there. Okay, and then what was it? F11 to go full screen again. I panicked hit F1 in order to try and mute the laptop speakers, which I could hear. Okay, so in backstage chat, I'm just going to say, sound is rough. Let's not talk. Okay. So what we've got here is a bunch of different layouts. Obviously, we've got our participants. At the moment, we're just stuck in a row there. I can join that up together, or I can stretch us. Hello. Move to a layout there where Ian is prioritized because he's quite big there, but I can make myself prioritized because why wouldn't I by just moving myself up on the left-hand side there? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to mute everybody. Or we can swatch sides. Go down to sort of little cinema layout, which again has a sort of priority, or they can be split screened. If Paul was going to say something really important there, I could spotlight Paul and then he would just be highlighted completely, or I can move him away. And let's go back to just the regular view. Actually, no, let's go back to this one. I like this one. Okay. Over here, we've got different graphics and things. So I can add a live to Future House from Future House thing here and create a new banner here saying, oh God, the sound. Save that and then add that to the stage instead and remove it. If I didn't like that particular background image, I can change the background or switch back again. I can add an overlay, so just maybe the little Svelte logo in the corner, or cartoon of Rich Harris as a superhero, because, you know, why not? That just overtakes everything. Let's go back to the Svelte logo. I'll actually take it away. Or if I wanted to basically rickroll everybody, I can add a video clip to the stage instead. And remove it again, because, you know, none of us need that. So what else do we want to do here? I'm not even going to attempt sharing a screen, but other participants obviously could. So let me just see if Ian can hear me. Ian, can you share a window? See if he notices the backstage chat message. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for Ian to notice that there's a little spot come up, I'm going to go to this interactions tab, and I think maybe something had come up here. No, something hadn't come up there. All right, never mind. I'm going to put, this would be basically your actual attendees in the stage would be viewing this little part. They won't be seeing this whole screen. They'll be viewing that along with their own little information panel that doesn't have all of the participants in it and all that kind of thing. And doesn't have the graphics choice. It would be a sort of separate thing, but they will have session interactions. So there's a live chat for that particular session. There's a Q&A thing if you've set things up to have that, and you can have polls as well. So your attendees can be chatting, and obviously we reflect that here. So I'm just going to put okay, I'm actually wondering if Ian's looking at this. Ian, can you share a window? Or add a chat message. Hopefully one of them spots that. Just sitting there in grim silence and looking at the thing. I don't know if anyone's looking at that. I don't know if they're looking at the graphics bit. Hold on, let me unmute myself. Ian, can you share a window and add a chat message? Hey, there we go. Perfect, thank you. So Ian's now shared a chat window. So if I do that, and because it's a screen share, that takes priority. So that automatically goes over here. But maybe we would want to actually do this. And evidently, Ian is looking at our lovely, beautiful website. I'm going to go back to that layout because that's the one that I prefer. And maybe Ian would be talking about this. So I'd move him up to the top, and then it would just switch positions. The other thing I can do is add things from the session interactions directly to the stage. So I could click that, and hopefully they'll see that, and somebody else can do that. We can do a quick poll. So I can put best. Oh my God, trying to type live is absolutely nightmarish. Best pizza, is it Hawaiian? Or is it, oh, I don't know, olives? Or is it nightmares? Nightmares, just for the slightly existential crisis pizza that you may have. I'm going to submit my response to that, but if other people do this is one cool demo, Andrew. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to like that post. And obviously all of this is basically real time. Right, let me remind myself of the things that I wanted to talk about here. I think I've more or less covered that. Oh yeah, that's it. There is one more thing. You'll notice down the bottom here it says start recording. I've set this session to be like all the way in the future on Monday because I didn't want it to start recording it and broadcasting it automatically. Because all of this is tied into your agenda program, the system knows exactly when each session is meant to start and finish. It does allow you to run over, of course. So it will start the ability to broadcast that to people, your actual attendees who are waiting in the stage, at the appropriate time. And I didn't really want that to kick in. If you're there in advance, you can just basically start the recording and record your presentation. And then if you wanted to, you could switch the session to be a simulated live using the recording and just pretend that you were doing this live and you're actually not really. If you were to do that, of course, you wouldn't really be able to use any of the session interactions because people wouldn't be there. Okay, so I'm just going to say thanks to everyone. Thanks, guys. I'm off now. Post that and add that to the stage just to make sure that they see it. You gonna wave? No, you're not gonna wave. Bye. Okay, right. I'm going to exit the studio. There we go. I saw a little thing there. That's good. So that is a demo of our studio. Right, good. So how is it all put together? There's three main aspects to what's going on. First off is getting the camera and mic tracks from each participant's computer and making those available to the UI and sharing them with other participants so that everybody can see and hear each other. That uses a technology called WebRTC, and the browser's API to WebRTC is incredibly low level, and I would never claim to be able to tackle that. So we're using a company called LiveKit to help out with that. LiveKit has a JavaScript SDK that's super easy to bring into Svelte, into a Svelte app. There's nothing to it. And that handles the nitty-gritty of WebRTC for us. And they also have a cloud service for sharing the video and audio data amongst all the participants that are there in the studio. The important thing from my perspective is that the actual attendees who are viewing this, who might potentially number, hundreds and hundreds of people, aren't looking at that. They're not looking at the LiveKit thing. They're looking at a video composite of what you're doing in the studio out the other end. Next up is making sure that all of those changes to the layout, adding graphics, taking graphics off, switching speakers around, muting people and all of that kind of thing. That's kept in sync for everybody that's there in the studio. And that requires a real-time data feed. And for us, that means WebSockets. And for that, we're using Twilio Sync. There's a lot of ways of using WebSockets with Svelte. I know Firebase and friends can do this, but we're not using those for a variety of different reasons. And there is a data channel as part of the LiveKit SDK that we could have used, but we'd already settled on using Twilio Sync in the virtual environment for various purposes. Things like the chat messages are all basically a sync list. And there's a couple of other key reasons. The big one is that that just slots neatly into the rest of our stack, including our lovely Perl-based API, but also that it's really, really inexpensive, so it doesn't cost a lot. And the final thing is getting what you see on stage in the studio out to the live stream for attendees. So the people who are watching the studio session, they aren't participants in the studio. They're seeing this streamed video just as if it were taken from the camera in the room. And for that, we're using a company called Mux. They're a pretty significant player in internet video infrastructure, and one of their more recent products is a thing that they call web inputs. And a Mux web input takes a URL and loads it up in a headless Chrome instance at a particular viewport size that you specify, and then takes whatever happens in that viewport, including the sound, and pipes it through to a regular Mux live stream. So basically you just get a live stream of whatever's going on in a browser. So as well as that app that I've just demoed, the Svelte app for our actual virtual environment where attendees go, and studio participants too, we also have a separate littler Svelte app that sits in as a hidden participant in the studio, and renders just the stage, just that rectangle in the middle. Our API sets up the web input with the URL of that app targeted to the particular studio session, and then triggers the web input when a recording is started, or automatically a few seconds before it's scheduled to begin. In the talk I gave in July, I mentioned that our platform for managing events has knocking on slightly under 700 components. Our virtual environment isn't that stupidly big, of course, but it still has roughly 150. That's including all of the little ones for bits of UI like buttons and form fields and things. So here's the rough shape of the studio. We've got the app at the top, then the masthead. Then you go, ooh, this is fast. You go into the studio session, and then you've got the various panels and bits and pieces of that. So that's sort of the structure of what we're looking at there, so that you can sort of see how it quickly escalates into quite a lot of components. Oh, sorry, actually, I want to go back for a second. The app that renders just the stage obviously has that one, and then that one, and the others down, but doesn't bother with all of the, like, you know, the navigation stuff, the branding, the layout controls, all the interactions and everything, because it's not trying to render those. It's literally just trying to render that rectangle. Okay, a little bit of code before I wrap up, just so that you don't have to ask for your money back. When you enter the studio for a session, we first fetch some data about the session from our API, and use that to initialize both the sync client and live kit. So we get the channel ID for the studio. We've already set up the Twilio Sync client up here. And here's the live kit room. So we define what we want in for the room and then connect to it using the host that's specified in that call up here. Sorry, that one. And the room token. And that gets us our room object, which all of that gets shoved into stores so that we can use it in various parts of that later on. What am I talking about here? Yes, I'm talking about syncing here. So the key thing is Twilio Sync has a couple of different, like, real-time objects. One of them is just a simple JSON document. There's a list of JSON documents. There's a map of named JSON documents. We're just using a JSON document that's synced to everybody to represent the current state of the studio. So who are the participants? What order are they in? What layout are we using? What background are we put onto the stage, and so forth. The Twilio Sync thing limits that document to, I think it's 16K, so it needs to be really small, which is why all of these are single letter things, just to keep it really, really terse. But we don't want to use that in our actual code. So there's just a little bit here that every time the sync document updates, we set our internal stores from the data that's in the sync document. And every time we update our stores, we basically update the sync document correspondingly. And there's just a really, I'm sure there's a better way of doing this, but this seems to work. We just have a little flag to say, am I going to do that one or not? So that it doesn't get into a loop where you update the stores from the sync document, and then updating the stores updates the sync document, and it just spirals. So Svelte's reactivity just kind of takes care of it. It's really simple in that regard. The room obviously publishes different events when somebody joins the room and people leave the room, and tracks come in and out. You know, if you change your microphone, or you change the camera that you're using or whatever. So we listen for events that are published to that room object and add you. And LiveKit makes the track data available in a way that you can then just attach to a video element or an audio element that's on the page. So basically, we get the track data, attach it, and then obviously when that participant leaves, remove it again. So it's pretty straightforward, and just that we're just simply binding to a variable there, and that takes care of that. We've run into some weird edge cases with it, but I'm not going to go into that. It generally speaking works pretty well. And the last thing really is the HTML for the stage itself, where all of the layout stuff is handled by a frankly absurd blob of CSS. I'll show you some of it in just a second. That is just behaving on classes. So is it grid? Is it the side? Which side is it? Have we got a banner going on? Is somebody spotlighted, and so forth. So those just are set by Svelte based on the store that we have. Then each participant is added in there. And we do have a flip animation for just like if you're moving somebody around, it's easier to do it that way than to try and do it from the CSS. So here is just a little bit of that CSS for just the side bit. And so it gets stupid, but there we are. Okay, I think I've probably run my time here, so thank you very much. Any questions?
Are you looking forward to the Svelte 5 rewrite, Andrew?
No, I'm not. I'm dreading it.
What else did I want to? Oh, that's what I wanted to ask. Would you like to sponsor the Svelte Society meetup?
If we ever have any money, I would love to.
Brilliant.
But having money requires having customers, and we don't have enough of those by any means yet to be able to do that. But
So all of the services, just like abstracted away to the third-party services.
yeah.
Okay.
Those.
Did you not look into like just using the platform and trying to do like peer-to-peer stuff that way?
Well, basically, the whole sort of WebRTC stuff is, I understand it to be nightmarish, because stuff goes horribly wrong. It's just edge cases galore. It's even edge cases with the SDK, let alone trying to do it sort of, raw dogging it. The sort of real-time stuff, I imagine there probably are simpler ways of doing it than using Twilio Sync, but we sort of settled on that early, and I haven't seen a reason to sort of move yet. And as for the muck stuff, I mean, there's absolutely no way we could do that ourselves. It's just that requires proper infrastructure. So, I'm just not doing that. Cool. All right. I'll let.
How long did this take you? It seems like a lot of work. Like, how much did it take to do this?
Right. Okay. The virtual bit. Okay. The studio probably took a few months, to be honest. It wasn't. There's whole chunks of what we've done. So there's the platform where you do things like the registration forms and the agenda builder and all of that kind of stuff. So that took a chunk of time. Then there's we initially then went on to virtual events where you would have to pipe in the data yourself just as an RTMP feed. So basically a camera. That wouldn't really work for virtual events. So we knew we needed to do the studio. And yeah, that took probably, I don't know, half a year or something. So, it's been a long time. I want money. Thank you. All right. Oh, sorry. I'll go back.
I don't know if I'm just like not good at getting jokes, but were you serious about using a Perl API?
I was absolutely dead serious about using Perl API.
How come? I haven't heard of anybody using it in so long.
You know what? Watch the other video, because I talk about that for a long time. Basically, it's just me doing the programming, if you can call it that. And I needed to use what I knew to be able to get it done.
Gotcha.
Because I'm really old. So yeah.
Does your hair look great at the start?
Just about, I think. Yeah, well, that's having kids. So yeah, it was just a case of, I'm not going to try and learn something else, because frankly, learning JavaScript was enough. So there we go.
So Twilio has like support for Perl.
But yeah, all of this stuff is really straightforward.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It's not Yeah, the stuff that's given me headaches hasn't been the back end at all. Honest.
I noticed as well. Sorry, I noticed as well. It looked like it was this Svelte app, not a Svelte kit app.
Correct. Yeah.
So how are you managing routing?
It's not. For something like
This
this,
all fades into the
yeah,
top
for something
line.
like this, we honestly don't care about updating the URL for people because so the platform has routing, thanks to Routify. I haven't ported that to SvelteKit yet because that's nightmare. There's a load of it. This basically, because the ability to go to different sessions and to different parts of it is gated very much by the circumstances in the moment. Is it the right time? Can you join a session yet? Do you have the relevant permissions for this and everything? And nobody needs to be sharing those URLs. It's basically just, there's the one URL and then it sets up some stores and says, well, where are you? It's easy. It's not something that I particularly want to use routing for.
Brilliant.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I think I have sound. Hello.
There you go. Is it doing anything?
I don't know.
Right, try and move. Yay!
Yay! Okay. How do I put this full screen? Technical difficulties. I don't know how to. Does anyone know how to use Figma slides?
Is it like F5? No, that's refresh.
Yeah. I do. Just to make it full screen in presenter mode. Yeah, I do. Anyway. Or I can just go through it like this, but it looks a bit weird. Or we can connect to my laptop. Yeah, I can do. Usually when I'm logged in, it will.
Left.
Yay, thank you. Lovely. That's what I was looking for. We're back on track. All good. Hello. Yay. Hello, Svelte Society London, and hello YouTube. This is my first ever tech talk, so I'm really excited to be here. Thank you, Scott, for the invitation. So much clapping. Today I'm going to talk about the joy of side projects. Oh, also, I have lots of QR codes in these slides, so if you want to take photos, then you're welcome to, and look at the stuff later. So yeah, I'm Maya. This is obviously not a recent photo of me, but it is one of my favorites, especially with the Windows 98. And I grew up in the era of Neopets and Pixo. Hopefully I've unlocked a memory for some of you. So yeah, this was my first dabble into HTML and CSS, customizing the Neopets profile. This is literally my actual Neopets profile that I found. And also on Pixo, I was obsessed with creating these websites with horrendous glitter graphics. But yeah, it was basically what you see is what you get editor. Yeah, I really miss this era of the internet. And now I'm a front-end engineer, so I think there is a really interesting pipeline of like early internet kids to like working in tech. So yeah, maybe that should be studied. But yeah, I am a front-end engineer at Outverse. I've got some of the Outverse team here with me today. And we are enabling SaaS companies to automate customer support with AI agents. And so, yes. So when I first joined Outverse, we had just been migrating from React to Svelte, and our lovely tech lead Berg also did a talk at the November 2022 London meetup. So I've linked it here, so I'm going to embarrass him. But yeah, go watch that video. And also pleased to announce that we are now 100% Svelte in our code base, so it's like full circle. Oh, this is a great crowd, love it. So yeah, when I first joined, I only had React experience. So I was like, I need to learn Svelte. It's kind of my job now, which is really cool. But I was like, what is the best way to learn Svelte? And I started with revamping my personal website for the 100th time and rewrote it in SvelteKit. So I've improved it over time, but at the moment it is pre-rendered, super speedy. The content is written in Markdown files, so I like to edit my blog posts and my notes in Obsidian and then just whack it in the editor. So it uses MD specs to pre-process the Markdown, which is basically MDX for Svelte, and a SvelteKit server to serve up the post data. And I actually followed a tutorial. It was a great tutorial by Joy of Code, which I've also linked there. So if you want a cool little blog that's super speedy, then go check that out. Oh, forgot to mention as well, all of these projects that I'll be showing tonight are built as SvelteKit and Tailwind and TypeScript. But yeah, I'll highlight all the different things that might be interesting on top of that. So I got to the point where I have so many project ideas, and I was feeling like I don't want to ship stuff until it's perfect. And I was kind of getting scared to kind of ship and share my work and get it out there. And I think that a lot of us can share this feeling. And I came across a YouTuber called Struthus, and he put out this question to his community: are you scared to post your work online? And it got 10,000 responses, and a whopping 64% were in the same boat. So that's like over 6,000 people. So yeah, it was really interesting. And he basically created this challenge called the Alphabet Superset to try and help people get their work out there and get over that fear of shipping and sharing. So I decided to join this challenge and do one project a week for each letter of the alphabet, building projects in Svelte, because it's like perfect opportunity to also learn things on the side as well. And in terms of what to build, basically just following my curiosity at the time. So first project is ADHD. I'm neurodivergent with ADHD. So I wanted to create some fun little virtual fidgets. So it has like spinners, a clicker button, and like this bubble wrap popper, and it also has sound as well. So this was like a tiny project, but it was a good first one to just get out there and ship. And it uses the baked-in Svelte animations as well, like animate flip and animate scale. Next up, B is for Bebo. Does anyone remember Bebo? Yeah, those are the days. So yeah, this was kind of like a nostalgia-inspired app. Yeah, inspired by Bebo, which is, for those who don't know, it was like a Y2K social network that came before Facebook. And you can create a profile, you can comment on people's walls. You can also share the love as well. And back in the day, it was like capped to only 3. So yeah, this also does the same thing. And I made some profiles for my cats because yeah, so that's churro and toast. And it also uses the roots with the dynamic parameters for like the dynamic profile URLs. I think this is actually one of my favorites. So here's the cats. Can you tell I like cats? It's inspired by our elite emoji selection in the company Slack. And it's basically just a collection of silly little cat images that you can easily download and add to your Slack workspace. So that's probably a side project that you didn't know you needed. This one here is Cozy Timer. So it was my first 3D project using Svelte, which is a 3D framework built on top of Svelte and 3JS. Super fun to play around with. And yeah, this is like a Pomodoro timer in some cozy 3D environments. And I was really interested in having fun with playing around with Svelte. And at this time, they had their first Svelte hackathon. So yeah, I did an entry, and the idea behind this was basically, if you're feeling a bit overwhelmed, you can kind of come into the 3D environment, and it had like sound and like calming noises, and then there's some animation on this like planet, where you can kind of like breathe in time and kind of hopefully ground yourself. So yeah, I ended up getting third place, which is really cool. And next is the ADHD directory. So this is probably one of my bigger projects to date, and there has basically been a really big problem with being able to get hold of ADHD medication, and there's been an ongoing shortage. So over the Christmas holidays, I built this really just to help me and my friends find medication easier. So Boots does have their own like online prescription checker, but I wanted to build a much more user-friendly way to check that data. And also, if Boots doesn't have the medication in stock, then you'll have to kind of call around and check independent pharmacies. And this is such a pain when you can't get access to your medication. Yeah, I'm basically trying to make that process a lot less stressful. And it really helps me. So literally like earlier this week, I had to call around 40 pharmacies, and doing that without this app would have taken me a lot longer. So yeah, on the back end, it uses Supabase to store the pharmacy data, and Svelte endpoints for data fetching with the Boots API, and a nice little library called Leaflet.js for maps. And this is the analytics graph for ADHD directory. So I shipped it in January. I was like, wasn't expecting it to like go anywhere, but now it's used by 200 to 300 people a day, and it's quite a satisfying graph actually. So it's also helping people all over the UK find their medication. So it's really nice just by getting something out there that you think, oh, it might not help like that many people, then you know things can help make an impact. So you know, try and get things out of your head and into the world. You never know who it can help. And as an ADHD, I have tons of hobbies, but one of them is Olympic weightlifting. And when I'm in the gym, barbell maths, it literally makes my brain hurt. So I created this little calculator to do the heavy lifting. Yeah, calculating what plates you need on the bar. So you can just get on with your session, do your reps, and get it done. So this was a really like super simple app to do. But yeah, super helpful. And fun fact, 1 through 5 is my recent back squat PB. So yay. So I didn't end up finishing Alphabet Superset because you know life got in the way. But I did go through this accelerator program called Build Space, Nights and Weekends, which was a program over 6 weeks where you can have an idea, build it out, and also be able to be a part of this amazing community. So I got to go to San Francisco in August, and there's literally 1,000 of us. And being surrounded by so many builders, not like just in tech, but like in arts and music, and people doing really cool things, it was really inspiring. So I think it made me realize the value of having these communities where you can see other people's projects, see other people building. So yeah, it was really cool. Just here. And my build space project idea is Radical. So this is my main focus in my spare time at the moment. And it's a visual calendar app where you can see your time in new ways. So I was really curious about how I can explore novel ways of displaying time in calendars today, basically in ways that align better with how my mental model of time is, and in more non-linear ways. So this is also my usual SvelteKit Tailwind combo, and it uses SvelteKit endpoints to communicate with the Google API. So yeah, normal calendars today, I think, in my opinion, sometimes can be quite noisy and overwhelming. So, oh, and also they all seem to have these 2D grids structures. So I really want to escape that and explore different UI models of displaying time. So this is the 24-hour clock radial view, where you can see your events. You can hover in between the event gaps as well to see how much time you have. Like if you want to go make a coffee between meetings, how much time do I have for that? And recently I shipped the Google Calendar sync, so you can read and view your events from Google Calendar. And soon you should be able to create and update from within the app as well. Yeah, and then also, you know, when you open your calendars and you're kind of, especially if you've got particularly packed calendars, it might be quite overwhelming to just be thrust into like your app of events. So I wanted to create this like minimal home screen where you can just see a simple view of your most your upcoming events. And this isn't in the app, but with my curiosity about 3D, I really want to explore how we can use 3D in calendars and potentially see how we can like navigate through time. So yeah, I'm excited to look into that more. And again, with another graph. This is another project where I didn't think that, I thought this was very niche to me. And just by shipping consistently and sharing my work, even though it was work in progress, it actually started to get a lot of people interested, and it was really good for me to get feedback, and also positive to see that other people think this way as well. So now, so I launched in July, and now I have nearly 260 people on the waitlist, and with beta access as well. So if you'd like to sign up and try it out, you can visit radical.day. So to sum it up, what have I learned from all this? Number one, Svelte has made it easy to build fast and enjoy building as well. I also I published this note of the file that I use for my like quick setup for Svelte and Tailwind projects. So yeah, if that's useful for anyone, I thought I'd share it. Number two is, if you're feeling stuck, build things that solve your own problems or add joy to your own life. And it doesn't need to change the world or make money, which is kind of what I thought about as well in the past, and I think it really limited me. So yeah, just get it out there. That actually brings me to my third slide. Just go create some stuff. Get off localhost. Go share your work. Get it out into the world. So yes, thank you, Svelte. Thank you, Svelte Society. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you for listening.
Hello, nice. So like a lot of really cool stuff and great talk. Thank you. Woo! Like a lot of the stuff you've done has you're actually getting users sign up, so you've got kind of that user management bit sorted out, which generally is like not the most complex part of an app, but non-trivial, I suppose. How do you kind of get that out of the way very quickly so you can actually build the fun thing instead of faffing about the databases and user management and passwords and rubbish?
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Like sometimes that stuff can be tedious. For the bigger projects like Radical, I set up a linear project. So I can just dump those tasks in there and then prioritize, something. I think sometimes you can get stuck on the little things that don't really add value. So yeah, trying to basically see what are the core things that I need to be able to add value to this product and to users. But I think also like user feedback has been super important as well. So to give focus and direction on what I should focus on. But yeah, literally sometimes it's just grinding away and just getting it done on the things like the core features.
Building public fiction.
Hi, amazing projects.
Thank you.
Great presentation. But I've got a question. How are you finding those people? Like, I'd imagine it's not just, oh, I got a lovely domain and people are just Googling my app specifically.
Yeah. So I think the biggest audiences come from Twitter. Basically Twitter. Oh, actually, for the ADHD directory, I did a few posts in Reddit in the ADHD UK community. So I think that also helped with the Google backlinks as well and getting the SEO up. So yeah, Reddit and Twitter, my main ones.
Was that before Reddit shut off to the outside world?
I think it might have been.
Yeah, two things. Can I actually go in more detail on what you said about user auth and stuff like that? Like, what are you using? Like, how have you approached it? And then actually a second one, how long did each project take you, and do you find them getting faster over time?
Good question.
Like, do you have a boilerplate, for example?
Yeah, so I do. It's okay if you zone out during that part, I get it. Hey, okay, no worries. So yeah, this is just a file I keep in Obsidian just to be able to quickly do a quick project setup with Svelte and Tailwind. You could probably like set up Cursor or something to do it now, but yeah, I haven't tried it. It works for me. No. I think there was another part to your question as well with the user auth. I just use Firebase at the moment for all the projects.
Oh yeah, sorry. Then how long? How long did you find the first project taking?
Yeah. So some of the smaller projects that didn't involve like backends were probably like a week, or sometimes I'd hyper focus and get it done in like a day or two. And yeah, some of the things with backends took a bit longer. So I think like the Bebo one took maybe like a couple weeks. The ADHD directory, again, I hyper focused it and got the first version in a weekend. And then it's been pretty low maintenance since then. Radical has been a bit more complex. But yeah, I'm literally just chipping away on like some weekends.
What's Radical?
It is made with Socket, Tailwind, TypeScript, Firebase, and the Google Calendar. Oh, it also uses Spline for some of the animations.
Did you use Spline for you had like a cute little room, like a pink room. You said you used Svelte.
Yeah, so that Cozy Timer, So this was just some GLTF models imported into Svelte. But I also, same with these, I think I just created them in native Svelte. And then things like this is from Spline.
Oh, very cool.
And this. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, these were amazing projects, so thank you. What would you say has been like the kind of most challenging thing to learn, or like the thing that you sort of come up against that has just become sort of like the most difficult to kind of figure out how to do?
Yeah, I think a lot of the time I don't know what I'm doing. So a lot of it is just like just-in-time learning. But it's also quite fun. Like when you, like, there's two sides to it. When you have no idea how something works and you're like, oh my goodness, it's a little overwhelming sometimes, right? But then there's the other side of like, oh my gosh, like I can do this now. So yeah, I think like over time, like you just, yeah, do more and more and have these different experiences and yeah, it just kind of gets better over time. But like I still sometimes feel like I don't know what I'm doing. So yeah.
It's been great to watch you build these projects week on week. Is there any plan to continue the alphabet, or have you settled now on doing more of like the longer form projects?
Yeah, so before Radical, I was going to try and finish Alphabet Superset by the end of the year. But yeah, now my focus is on Radical because I'm really excited about it and I'm really enjoying working on it. So yeah, this is my creative outlet at the moment.
So I think, first of all, fantastic talk. If you didn't say that was your first talk, I would have not known at all, because the storytelling was good, the demos were good. I thought it was fantastic. So I guess I have three questions for you. First one is how many domains do you happen to own for all these side projects?
Quite a lot. I couldn't give you a number, but some of them are in the domain graveyard. But we won't talk about that. But yeah.
Fantastic. My second question was, I forgot my second question, funny enough, so I guess I'll skip to my third question. So the gentleman over there asked about how do you manage your users? I'm more curious, how do you manage your cats posting on the cat social network?
You know, they have monitored accounts, you know, that I oversee.
All right, you have to send me a link for that.
All right, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, one more question. I'm always interested in hearing from React developers who take on Svelte, because I feel like you guys can have a unique kind of bird's eye view of the two projects. If you were to kind of give a couple bullet points on just the kind of insights or just kind of what your experience has been like, what would those be?
In terms of learning, going from
Well, yeah, just the contrast. I mean, of someone because you guys built rewrote the whole thing. Just how does it feel, or what kind of, you know, are there things that you like about Svelte, or that are kind of more difficult coming from React, or that you miss from React, or any kind of just big things that stick out to you?
Yeah, Svelte feels a lot simpler to me. I feel like I can build a lot quicker with it. And yeah, I think it feels more like it does what it says on the tin. And I also like that there's a lot of things baked in as well, like the animations and things like that. Yeah, I don't really miss coding in Svelte, and I'm really lucky to be able to do it as my full-time job. So yeah.
I forgot what I was going to say now. So what you're saying about, so you're at C on the alphabet?
G. I completed G.
G, but what was the project that you were spending your time on now?
Radical. So this one here.
What letter is that in the alphabet?
Oh, this is different. So this is outside of the alphabet.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
cool.
So I kind of pause on the alphabet. And
okay,
then,
cool. So
yeah. Could be R.
This is yeah, you're not bound by it.
Tick.
And this is what I think is fantastic, is that, you know, you've just found something which has piqued your interest, and you've just, you know, you've gone all in on that one point, which is, it's, you know, like you were saying about just-in-time learning, is where you're like, what am I doing here now with this stuff? And then, you know, after picking a little thread for a bit, you sort of understand how to do things a lot better.
Yeah.
And just going back to what Fractal was saying, is that with Svelte, you do find it a lot more, there's a lot less overhead.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
So you were a React developer before?
Yeah.
And you've been a Svelte developer for how long now?
Nearly 2 years.
Oh, right, okay, cool. So, like the overhead, which, do you remember any of it? Like useref and
yeah.
any of the stuff like that, which, you know,
it's buried in my memory.
yeah. So, like, I remember the first time, like, going one of the first things I did when I started using Svelte was converted all my React projects over to Svelte, and I was like, I can't believe how one, much less code there is, but like how less confusing it was as well.
Yeah.
So you found that as well,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so it's not just me. No, fantastic. I really like this idea as well, and kudos for like the build. So are you like sharing everything on Twitter? And this is where a lot of the traffic's going.
Yeah.
Kudos. No,
Thank
excellently
you.
well done. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
It's been a brilliant for everyone. So many questions.
Yeah. Awesome.
Any more questions? Do you want to answer some questions from online? No, there's not. Okay. I think we'll end it. Thank you.